What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, the 2025 WNBA Playoffs are officially here, and day one was long, but it delivered everything. 4 games, 4 stories, and 4 teams that are already facing elimination. Remember, these first round series are a best of 3, and if you lose game 1, well, your season is dangling on by a thread. So, let's break down what happened on day 1 of the WNBA Playoffs. I'm going to give some thoughts, and I'm going to kick it over to Momma for her to close us out with each and every game. Queen in the Morning starts now.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Ready, set, go.
All right, guys, let's break the playoffs down. Game 1 by starting off in Minnesota, where game 1 we saw the Minnesota Lynx take on the Golden State Valkyries. The Minnesota Lynx didn't just win their playoff opener, guys. They destroyed the Golden State Valkyries with the largest win in Minnesota playoff history. Final score, 101 Lynx, 72 Valks. Again, largest playoff win in franchise history. Golden State came out swinging, especially in that first quarter. Timmy Fag-Benley scored their first bucket. Veronica Burton was knocking down shots. And they actually had a pretty good lead, 28-21 at the end of the first quarter. But after that, guys, it was lights out. Minnesota stepped up the defense. The Valks started turning over the basketball and committing fouls. And Minnesota took it from there. They outscored them 26-12 in the second quarter. Nafisa Collier took over in the third, and guys, it was a runaway train. Guys, Nafisa Collier ended up with 20 points, 6 rebounds. Natisha Heidemann was the key player of the game. Mama's going to talk about that more in just a sec. But when Natisha Heidemann came in this game, she flipped everything upside down. It felt like Minnesota, like they weren't knocking down shots early to begin with. But Natisha Heidemann came in the game, and she's just a game changer. She's just a game changer. Her intensity on offense, her ability to just kind of make an impact anywhere, whether it's getting to the rim, whether it's knocking down jump shots, whatever it is, Natisha Heidemann is bringing that. And the Golden State Valkyries is like her favorite team to go against, right? She had her season high this year against the Golden State Valkyries. Like every single game against the Valks, Natisha Heidemann does her thing. I don't know why specifically, but like, shout out to Natisha Heidemann. We also saw Kaylin Brad knock down 17 points. And as a team, the Minnesota finished with a very good field goal percentage, 51.5% from the field, 25 assists on 35 field goals. And when that happens, dog, you're looking pretty good. The New York Liberty had 5 players in double figures, and they forced 16 turnovers, outscoring the Valks 44-18 in the paint. That's pure domination. Golden State got 14 apiece from Veronica Burton and Cecilia Zandalicini. But guys, this was a reality check. The best team in the league is the Minnesota Lynx by a mile. They're up 4-0, and if they close out Game 2 in San Jose, well, the Valks' debut season is over. Now I'm going to kick it over to Momma for her to give her thoughts on this game.
Watching the Minnesota game was an interesting game, especially starting out. The game started out slow for Minnesota, whereas Golden State was really cooking. They really were, in the offense quickly. But we noticed that in the second quarter, towards the end of the first quarter, Minnesota kind of like got back in the groove. Because in the first quarter, early part of the first quarter, they were missing a whole lot of shots. They were taking a lot of shots, but they were just missing them. They were just off. But as they went into the second quarter, we noticed that Heidemann really got Minnesota started. So I think she really gave Minnesota a lift in their offense. Without Heidemann, I don't think they would have got back in the groove like they did. And so they carried from the second quarter. They went on runs, and it seemed as if that was kind of like the end for Golden State. I also think that their center that got in foul trouble.
Yeah, Timmy Fagbenle.
She was the reason I think that really hurt Golden State from their offense, because she was not only shooting from the outside, but she was on the inside, and she was defending well. So her getting in foul trouble, they did a challenge that would have prevented her from getting that fifth foul, but they lost the challenge, Golden State. So she was at her fifth foul, and they sent her to the bench. And from there, it seemed like Golden State lost their offensive wind. And they didn't have anything to stop Minnesota from scoring, because earlier in the first quarter they were zoning them, and that also made it hard for Minnesota initially to get their offenses going. But once they got past that second quarter and when third quarter started, Minnesota was on a roll. Even though Fee got in foul trouble, and even though McBride got in foul trouble, and even though Smith got in foul trouble, it did not stop Minnesota from going on these runs and winning a game in a big way, to the point where I think it was at the 5 minutes left in the game where they were Minnesota was able to put all their bench members in the game to finish out the game. So I thought it was the first quarter was the most exciting part of this game, where I thought Golden State really had a chance of winning had they stayed on those type of plays. But again, I think that the center getting in foul trouble hurt their play, because Burton was making a lot of plays, but she was also, those two were kind of like the main players that had Golden State going and kept them in the game, where they could have, if they played the same way, could have made this a more competitive game after halftime. To me, it really wasn't a competitive game anymore.
Yeah, it was seemed like it was a lot of especially like second quarter on, Minnesota stepped up their defensive pressure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Minnesota started to go downhill, get to the rim, and then their 3-point shots started to hit. And then it felt like Golden State started to feel on the back foot, where they were getting sometimes good looks, but they were rushing it. They were rushing the possessions, which led to more turnovers, which led to more pressure, which led to more rushing on terms of shots, which led to missing the shots.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I would say, yeah, those turnovers too for them really hurt them, because they usually feed off turnovers, not make as many as they did in today's game. But again, they're playing the number one seed, so it's not supposed to be easy for them anyway. But at the same time, we've seen Golden State beat top teams all season long, so it was not a stretch to believe that they could have made this a more competitive game down the stretch. But again, I just think after the second quarter was over, going into the second half, it was just over, because once Minnesota picked up that defense and it turned to offense, they were lining up to shoot those threes more often. Also, they were getting down the floor real quick. So probably like the 17th second of the shot clock, they were already almost at the rim. That's how fast they were going up and down the floor. So I think that was their strategy, to play fast, to keep Golden State kind of like out of the game, even though Golden State generally play fast. So it's not like they can't play fast, but when you're playing from behind, because at that point, I think they were down 15 points, I think. So it wasn't, bad. It's not like they couldn't overcome that. But once you get past 15 points and you get into the 20th point, but being behind, it's a little bit hard to play to play if your defense is not working. If you're not stopping the ball, it's just not going to happen. And that's what happened. And it's just, I was hoping for a better game, being the first game, but it is what it is. But I think Fee did hurt her ankle.
She did. When she closed out on, what was that, Kate Martin in the third quarter for the 3-point shot, not only did she get that reckless closeout, but when Kate Martin was kind of like falling down, looked like she landed on Nafisa's ankle, and Nafisa didn't come back after that, and I think that's going to be a thing for concern for the Minnesota Lynx going forward.
Yeah, and you could see she was emotionally upset on the bench, and I think she was in pain as well. So it is going to make a difference. She got a few days to ice it or whatever to get it. If it's just sore. If it's just sore, there's a chance for icing it and being able to play Wednesday. But if she re-injured that ankle, they in for a rude awakening on Wednesday. Because I think Golden State on Tuesday is gonna make a statement on Tuesday being in there on their home court. Well, they say it's not gonna be at Chase Center, but it's still gonna be in California. But that's still their home court, and I think their fans are gonna make it hard for Minnesota to win if he is not able to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this game would be on Wednesday in San Jose. Yeah, and we all know how good the Valks have been at home, even though, technically not at home. So it'll be interesting to see. And also, if you noticed in the fourth quarter, Letitia Heidemann kind of hurt herself a little bit. She did finish the game, but that's also something to be concerned about.
I thought that, but she stayed in. I think she did that because Cheryl Reed had already emptied the bench, so it was not like somebody can come back in for her. So she just kind of like stayed in. But if you notice, she didn't play. She wasn't her normal self as she was earlier in the second quarter. So I think those are two concerns: Heidemann and Fee. If they actually hurt themselves, how that's going to impact the game on Wednesday with Golden State. And I'm hoping that's not the case, because it's almost a given that if that is the case, that Golden State would possibly win Wednesday. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy win, but they have a better chance of winning if those two are not playing. Even though I know the other ladies, Shepherd always steps up, but I'm just saying it just would make a difference if both of them are hurt, or even one of them are hurt. Golden State would have a better chance of winning and making it 1-1 and forcing a game 3 versus a 2 and out. So we shall see, though.
If you remember the last time Minnesota played Golden State, at Golden State, I mean, this one's going to be in San Jose, but still, so the last time they played them in California, Minnesota barely won that game.
Right.
They won 78-72. And that was a game that Nafisa did play in. And so, and that was the game that Natisha Heidemann, she had like a career high, I believe, in that game to even get the win. And so, it wouldn't be unheard of for the Valks to possibly squeeze out a win.
I think it would help their morale as well. Even though I think Minnesota's going to win the series, it would help their morale if they can win at least one playoff game. They're in the 8th seed, and yes, this is their first year, but they have done awesome, to even make it to the playoffs. So they have nothing to hold their heads down about, even in the loss today. But like I say, I really think the center going out with that fifth foul. I don't think she came back in the game, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't think Timmy did. Yeah, I don't think she did.
And I think she should have let her come back in because she still had another foul to give. Come on now, she got 6 fouls.
I say leave it all out on the court. You don't want.
What's the purpose of? I think it could have made a difference in the game if she had brought it in like in the third quarter, even when Minnesota was running away with the game. She would have been a stopper, especially defensively, to at least on Fee. So, because Fee had 20 points. And she almost did it effortlessly. It's almost like, I can remember her shooting that much, to be honest with you. But she ended up with 20 points. So she was having her way. So hopefully they will learn from that, you know. I don't remember how she got 5 fouls either. It seemed like it happened real quick. How she got those fouls so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, some of those fouls, they were fouls, but you could have held the call. You could have held your whistle.
Well, to me, the first quarter, they didn't call that many fouls. They were letting them really play the first quarter. But it was after that, it seemed like they started blowing the whistle more. Because I was like, they letting them play rough. Okay. They weren't calling it. Because I thought it should have been a lot more fouls. From what I was looking at, I was like, that was a foul. But they didn't call it. And I was like, okay, they're letting them play on. But that didn't change. And then when the coach got that technical, I was like, whoa. I guess she was so upset. But I was like, wow. That didn't help them, you know. Because remember, it was in the middle of, I forgot who was at the line, shooting two. And they stopped shooting they two and let them shot the technical. It was like, oh, y'all have messed up. Now that's it. You know. But I guess she's going to get her frustration out with the refs. And if it took her getting a technical, so be it, you know. But, you know, I just think that they had a chance. They started out the game right. And her picking up those fouls just kind of like, because she was the one, her and Burton was the two that was really carrying the team.
Yeah, and then it was that, but also the reason why they even had the lead to begin with is Nafisa kept missing shots early in the game.
They missed,
and they were makeable shots, a lot of makeable shots. So in some ways, Golden State lucked out with that start to the game because Minnesota were just missing stuff that they normally would make.
Right. I counted, I think, 4 jump shots and 2 3-pointers that they missed. And I was like, man, they normally make all of these shots. And it seemed like it was a good shot from when they were releasing it. I'm like, how did they miss? And then they missed 2 layups, too. So they did miss a whole lot of shots. You're right, in that first quarter. And that's the reason why I think the score was 4-9. Then it went to 4-11. It's like, man, y'all not playing. That's when Cheryl Reeves, she did call timeout to regroup them. But it was like, y'all shooting, but y'all ain't making nothing. Because I think they were going fast. I think Minnesota was moving fast, like they are usually when they're in their smooth of the game, when they really roll with the game and they play fast. I think that's what they were trying to do, but they were hitting the back of the rim. It was just like, okay, what are y'all doing? Like y'all were playing like some amateurs, and I think that's why Cheryl had to really grab them and like, look, what are y'all doing here? Y'all got to play. This team gonna win if y'all don't play right because they gonna keep shooting. And they're going to make their shots. They made a lot of their shots, especially from the 3-point line. So, but they didn't get a chance to do it in the third and fourth quarter like they normally do. They normally down the stretch continue to shoot and make those shots, but it just didn't happen for them.
Yeah, Golden State scored. Yeah, what'd you say?
I was about to say when they brought Kate Martin in, I think that was in the mid of the third quarter. I think she made 2 3-pointers. And they kind of like got them back in the rhythm of the game, but she couldn't continue to do that. It just didn't happen. So,
yeah. Well, Minnesota lose 101. Minnesota lose. The Valkyries lose 72-101. The Valks only scored 12 points in the second quarter. Only scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. While Minnesota scored 32 points in the third quarter alone. Other stuff that I thought was pretty interesting was the fact that bench points, 42 bench points from Minnesota, 44 points in the paint compared to 18 for the Golden State Valkyries. We know that Golden State is a big 3-point shooting team. That's what they do. And they do it typically very, very well. However, Today was not their day to knock down those shots and to make stuff happen. And they have to do more in the paint. And with Timmy Fagbenle on the bench, it's hard to do that. Well, Mama, thanks for wrapping up the game with me. Any last words about Minnesota versus Golden State?
No, we just look forward to the game on Wednesday, and hopefully Fee and Heidemann is not actually hurt. That's it. Let's see what happens.
All right. Thanks, Mama.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Game 2, we have the Atlanta Dream versus the Indiana Fever. From a blowout to kind of a grind. The Atlanta Dream, fresh off of their best season in franchise history, they handled business up against the undermanned Indiana Fever squad. Final score, Dream 80, Fever 68. Indiana actually started off very strong in this game. This game was all about the guards. Less about the post, but all about the guards, right? It was Kelsey Mitchell and Odyssey Sims to start off the game. And for the Indiana Fever, for the Atlanta Dream, it was all about Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray. And Kelsey Mitchell, for her standpoint, she did well to start off the game. Of course, Kelsey Mitchell was doing her thing, but we saw the Atlanta Dream tighten up on defense, and they flipped the second quarter and never trailed again. Alicia Gray did her thing for the Atlanta Dream, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. Ryan Howard, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 steals. And I gotta say, Naz Hillman, once again, she continues to be that spark that this Atlanta Dream team needs. Of course, you know what Alicia Gray and you know what Ryan Howard can do, but Naz Hillman really is, in a lot of ways, the X factor. She had 14 points in that second half alone. Finished the game with 16 points, 9 rebounds. Naz was big in this one. She really did hit the knockout in this game, including a clutch three-pointer in the fourth that kind of slammed the door on the Indiana Fever. Kelsey Mitchell was brilliant, 27 points, but the Fever shot just 35% from the field. 2 for 15, I should say, from 3. They turned over the basketball 15 times. Aaliyah Boston, she battled with Brianna Jones throughout this game. It was very, very fun to see that battle. Mama enjoyed that battle as well. But she was less effective. Yeah, she dealt with some foul trouble and whatnot, but less effective overall. Without Caitlin sort of doing a lot of the playmaking, this offense at some times does not allow Aaliyah Boston to be Aaliyah Boston. Now, can she score and make some stuff happen without Caitlin? Yeah, we've seen it all this year. However, there does at times need to be more of a let's just go Aaliyah first in these situations, and sometimes that doesn't happen. But it was a great battle between Aaliyah and Brianna Jones down low. That was really fun to see. So the Atlanta Dream take game 1 and now sit 1 win away from their first semifinal since 2018. Actually, this is their first win in the playoffs, period, since 2018. That's a long, long time. For Indiana, Tuesday at home is do or die with the Fever rule. More on that tomorrow. All right, so game 2, the Indiana Fever versus the Atlanta Dream. We saw the Atlanta Dream ultimately get the dub. Very, very close game to start with, the Indiana Fever kind of holding on. And then the threes started falling and stuff started hitting, and Alicia Gray did her thing, and the rest is history, really. What did you think about the game, Mama?
I thought it was a good game. Indiana starting off well was not shocking, but I was surprised that Atlanta didn't match it. That it was like the first 5 or 6 minutes, Indiana was just playing the game, and Atlanta didn't seem like they were there. I thought also there was way too many fouls called in this game. This game lasts way too long, and I thought they just kept calling fouls to me that really wasn't necessary fouls, and the game just went way too long. I think that it was a competitive game for the most part. Mitchell kept Indiana in it. I think without Mitchell scoring the way she did, Indiana would have lost even worse than what they did. That first half, Indiana was in it, but it looks like that third quarter, we saw Atlanta kind of like pulling away with their scoring, especially with the three-pointers, getting those lined up. I thought Hillman, I thought she was kind of like one of the reasons why they won. I thought it was Howard and Alicia Gray that really gave them the offense. I really like Bree Jones and Aaliyah Boston, how they were battling in the post.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome to see. We don't see that too often where two bigs really go at it, literally go at it, and neither one is let up. So I thought that was good to see. Aaliyah Boston didn't score a lot, but she did set a lot of screens. And I think because she had to work so hard for the screens, and because she had to kind of like, I don't know, she wasn't like the person that was doing like the assist or whatever, but it seemed like she was kind of like out of the flow as far as offense was concerned. I think if she had been able to score more, then Indiana would have had a better chance of catching up towards the end part of the game. Remember when they pulled her out because of the foul trouble? She had 5 fouls, and they pulled her out. And I think from there, Indiana just went to town, and it was no way looking back. At the game to see there was no way for Indiana to come back. I also thought other significant parts of the game was when Stephanie White got a tech.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the fourth quarter, and I think that was kind of like one of their when the game was kind of like getting out of hand for where Indiana was going to win.
What, a dream was going to win?
Huh?
You said that Indiana was going to win.
Well, no, I thought that Indiana would, when she got the tech, up until that time she got the tech, I felt that they had a chance to win. And when she got the tech, it kind of like threw them kind of like somewhat out of the game. And then Odyssey Sam's got a tech. I was like, oh, God, y'all just messed it up now. It's not going to work. They kind of like just got out of the flow of the game. I think that was the real issue. They got out of the flow of the game. There was way too many fouls called. I don't think that all the fouls that they got, they should have had. But at the same time, they were doing the same thing on the other end as well. So I think the refs just was calling way too many fouls. And also the challenges that Indiana called, on those plays, and they didn't win those challenges. When they lost their challenges, that kind of hurt them.
Well, no, but they won both of their challenges, though. That's the bad thing. They won.
Right, but it took them out of the flow of the game. Even though they won the challenge, the flow of the game was gone. I think that's the main thing. When they got out of the flow of the game, it didn't really help them because Howard didn't do anything for Indiana. She didn't really do anything as far as offense was concerned. It was Kelsey Mitchell that was really keeping them in the game as far as offense was concerned. And they needed more offense, and they just couldn't get it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was competitive, to some degree. But when they lost, when they kind of like lost focus on the offense, and they really were. I think Kelsey would have had even more points, but they were guarding her hard. They were guarding her hard, and she still got 20-some points. But I think she would. They needed more from her in order for them to win.
Do you anticipate the Fever being able to win Game 2?
I think there's a chance for them to win. I think they're going to change their strategy for Game 2, and also because they're going to be playing at home. They always seem to play better at home with their fans. So I think there's a great chance for them to win Game 2, and we actually have a Game 3, where I think Atlanta will win the series. But I think Indiana is going to win the next game at home.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I think they're going to rebound and play their Indiana game they've been playing and win the game.
Do you think that there's any specific adjustments that Atlanta should make in order to win Game 2 and just close it out?
Wait a minute. You mean for Atlanta?
Yeah.
Their adjustment is they got to clean up their shot selections. They were playing too fast at one point, and I think that's why they were missing some of those shots early in the game. Because I think they could have pulled away in the game earlier. I think it was the second quarter, but they were shooting too fast.
Yeah, I remember specifically I think there was several instances where Alicia Gray had the basketball on a fast break or a quick play or whatever, and then she was just going so fast that she missed the layup.
Yep. I think they were so anxious that sped up the game, and generally fast playing is not an issue for them, but if you keep missing your baskets, you got to slow it down a little bit. I mean, because your offense is there. You got your offense. You had balanced scoring today. So all they need to do is keep the balanced scoring, but when they see that their shots are not falling, to slow the game down. Don't let Indiana force them to speed it up. Even when it's sometimes I think even when those fast breaks happen and they miss, it's like, wait a minute, what were you doing? Just slow it down just a little bit. It's you can do this, but you got to slow down the game so you can make the shot. So, but I really feel that there were way too many foul calls. I was just like, oh my God, this game's going way too long. Every time they go up down the floor, it's a foul. It's a foul. It's a foul. It's a foul. It's like, goodness gracious, let them play.
All right, well, the Atlanta Dream take down the Indiana Fever. Final score 80-68. Well, thanks, Mama, for wrapping up that game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. Game 3, the Liberty versus the Mercury. Now, we got to talk about this because we go to the desert where the Liberty and the Mercury gave us, I would say, probably the day's most dramatic game. It was ugly. It was chaotic, but it went to overtime, and New York escaped with a 76-69 overtime win. The hero? It's the former Merc herself, Natasha Cloud. Facing her old team, she played the game of her life. 23 points, 9 of 12 shooting. She did a little bit of everything on the court. 6 boards, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Even starting off overtime with a 3-point shot. Doc, what are we talking about? Natasha Cloud was big time. Tosh felt that, hey, she got to step up for her team. Her team needed her. Not only that, she's playing against her former team. So, she carried the energy for the Liberty to ultimately lead them to the dub. Brianna Stewart did her thing as well, though she did leave with a knee injury in overtime. That looks pretty bad. She looked pretty in pain. This is what Sandy Brondello had to say after the game about Brianna Stewart.
Thank you. Kendra Andrews, ESPN. Sandy, I'm curious of any conversations that you may have had with Stewie initially after the injury. I know she came back in, played a little bit. She looked quite a bit in pain, at least from through the TV screen and then you took her out. What can you share with us about just any check-in that you did have with her in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, she asked me to sub her out there, and she looked uncomfortable, so that was the reason we took her out there. And then we're just, we'll just be hoping that she'll be okay.
This is a player who has already had 2 knee issues this year. If Breanna Stewart's not right, the New York Liberty's title hopes, they could kind of implode. We'll see what happens. For the Merc, well, they'll regret this one. Alyssa Thomas had a point-blank shot at the end of regulation. It's a shot that she makes all the time. It rolled off. So, now you have to go to overtime. Alyssa Thomas could have won the game in regulation. Got to go to overtime. So, they go to overtime, and the Mercury shoot 1 for 7 from the field. They turned it over, and they watched the New York Liberty pull away. Brutal. So, New York leads 1-0, but the real question is, will Breanna Stewart be there for Game 2 in New York? That's the storyline that could kind of define this entire postseason for the Libs. We'll see what happens. Or can the Merc make it happen? Here's Mama's thoughts. I think he did, yeah.
Okay. I sat and watched all these games. Like I said, the only game I missed like 4 minutes of was the New York game because I fell asleep. I was tired.
Alyssa Thomas should have won the game, but she didn't. But anyway, she missed the easy shot to keep the game from going to overtime. She could have just won it, but she didn't.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. Wow, I'm sure she's kicking herself in the butt on that one.
Well, she's saying, "Oh, we move on," but she shouldn't have made it. She's like, "There's no way Alyssa Thomas should have missed that shot." Because it was a difficult one, but it's an AT shot. AT, she does a couple moves and she kind of maybe gets bumped here and there, but she eventually she makes the shot.
Yeah, she does.
It's certain acrobatic type shots that she just hits. And this was one of those that she's made time and time and time again, and this time she just missed. And if she would have made that, Phoenix win, no overtime. She should have made it. She should have made it, but that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yeah, I know. I think that them shutting down AT in offense was the reason that Phoenix actually lost this game. The Liberty started off really fast, and you could see that they were, it was kind of like neck and neck to some point in that first quarter. But the Liberty was playing better as far as offenses was concerned, and I felt that they were going to win. But then I saw that Phoenix got back in it. I saw when they brought some people off the bench, they got back in it. I kind of drifted off a little bit towards the, I think it was the 4th minute. So I missed the part until I saw the overtime. I was like, oh my goodness, I missed the overtime. I didn't realize they was going into overtime because I had just assumed that the Liberty had won without going into overtime. And I was like, oh my goodness, I missed it. So I missed 4 minutes of the game, the last part of the 4th quarter. So I don't know what happened in that part of the game. But I just felt the part of the game that was challenged for Phoenix was, yes, AT was getting her assist, but she was not getting offense like she normally would, because they used JJ most of the first half to kind of shut her down. So she couldn't play her normal offensive game. So she just kept getting everybody else involved, which is good too. But they needed, I think, more offense from her earlier in the game to get her going, to make a difference in the game.
Yeah, her field goal percentage was not good at all. 38% from the field. They were, and at times they were even severely sagging off on her. Hey, daring her at sometimes to even shoot. And you're right, she was getting her teammates involved, but she needed to get going.
Right. Because she was the engine that could make a difference in them winning, like she's done all season. She's the engine that runs them. And Sably, I can't remember how many points. I remember she had. I saw
had
one
9
3-pointer.
points.
See, and she needed more points. You needed more points from her. And Copper got in foul trouble down the stretch. And it's like, you needed more points from your main people to win this game and have a chance. I thought Emma didn't do as well as I thought she was going to do in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I expected her to do more in a game like this because she missed a lot of shots, and I was like, wait a minute, why are you missing this shot? So on their side, but Brianna did very well. She did very well. She was going up and down the floor. She missed. I know she made one 3-pointer that I saw, but she was very confident in what she was doing, and I think that made a difference for the Liberty as well.
What are your thoughts on how Natasha Cloud did? She was basically fantastic from beginning to end.
Yeah, she was popping. I think I saw 2 where she stripped the ball twice. She was just on fire when she made that 3-pointer. We haven't seen her make a 3-pointer in a couple games, but you could tell she came ready to play. And when the third quarter started, she wasn't on the bench and she wasn't out there. Mm-hmm. And then people was like wondering what's going on with her. And then we saw her kind of like running back out, and she got back in the game as soon as she could. But yeah, she was a difference maker for them. Her aggressiveness, she was very aggressive, and it made a difference in how the Liberty played. I don't think Phoenix played as good as we've seen her play in the past, but she played well enough for them to win. But I just think that the Liberty was so aggressive coming out the gate, and them shutting down AT early made a difference in how Phoenix played down the stretch. Even like I said, I missed those 4 minutes going into the last part of the fourth quarter. What I had seen still was that I didn't expect Phoenix to win based on the way they were playing throughout the game. Copper was hot, but again, she got in foul trouble.
Yeah, it felt like it just wasn't really Phoenix's night. Like they were trying and they were putting up the effort. It just, I don't know. It just felt like the Liberty were just going to eventually figure out a way to win. Mm-hmm. Even though the Liberty didn't play that great. I mean, yes, Tosh Cloud was amazing, partially because she's playing against her former team, the team that, supposedly lied to her and said that she was going to retire there, and then they shipped her off to Connecticut, and so like she still feels the type of way about Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And so it makes sense that she's dropping 23 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals.
Yeah, because she got to show off.
Away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, but I think the way Phoenix played today, I think it's going to be hard for them to win in New York.
Yeah.
I think New York is going to win the series in the second game. It's always the possibility. But if they shut down AT and nobody else steps up to make up the difference in those points, none of their stars run with it. It's going to be very hard for them to win in New York. Not with New York's crowd. New York's crowd is kind of like Indiana's crowd. It's hard to win in those arenas.
Yeah, with Phoenix, it's like, Satu Sably is too good to be giving you 9 points.
I know.
Like, that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And Kai, yeah, sure, she led the team with 15 points, but that's still not great.
Nope. But I think her foul trouble hurt her though.
It did, and luckily for Phoenix, they did have DeWanna Bonner, who came off the bench and gave them some points. But still, like, it's, to me, the key is Satu. If Satu can get going and shoot better than 11% from the field.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. But you could tell they were kind of like off in their... you could kind of like when people get in their shooting motions, you could tell they were kind of like a little bit off. Because Wickham did, I think, 2 3-pointers, if I remember correctly. She was doing well, but again... Huh?
She did, yeah.
But again, it was not enough. It just wasn't enough. They were not their normal. They didn't have the normal like rotation. Like it's like something was off about their game. That's what it kind of like felt like. But you were at home, and it's always easier to win at home than it is on the road. And so I just think they're going to have a hard time in New York. And I think they were the only team that didn't win at home so far today, right?
Yep.
So I think they missed their opportunity to go 1-0. I really think that they're going to kick themselves in the butt losing this game today, knowing that they're going into a hostile environment in New York. And it was a competitive game to some extent. But I think out of all 3 games so far, the Indiana game was the most competitive throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
If I could say out of all 3 games, throughout the game was the most competitive, where you thought, it's anybody's game at any given point that they can win. It's just Atlanta finally pulled off towards the end of the third quarter, and they didn't look back. But as far as New York, it felt like Phoenix was hanging in there at certain points. Mm-hmm. But they just couldn't get that offense. They couldn't get nobody to get hot and start dropping some real points. And we're so used to seeing AT get to the basket at will, and we didn't see that. And partially because when you got somebody that tall like JJ guarding you and taking you out of your rhythm, it's hard. Because she's only going to shoot mid-range. She's not shooting from the outside so much. So that's the problem.
All right, and finally, the last game of the day, which it was way too late. Way too late of a game. It's ridiculous how late of a game that was. WNBA, please don't do this again. I know you're trying to cram everything into one day. However, please don't do it again. Please. All right, finally, in Vegas, it was a mismatch from the jump. The 2-time champs rolled the Storm over, and it was pretty easy. 102-77 for their 17th straight win. That's the second largest winning streak in WNBA history. And they look completely unstoppable in this game. A'ja Wilson proved once again why she is the best player in the WNBA, dropping 29 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks in just 30 minutes, passing Angel McCoughtry to move into the top 10 all-time in playoff scorers. And she did it barely breaking a sweat. I mean, dog, it's amazing to see what she can do. Jackie Young also was electric on both ends, 18.7 assists, 4 steals. And Vegas, as a team, shot 51% from the floor, 48% from the 3. The Storm, well, they look completely overmatched. 5 players in double figures, but their 25 first half points tied a franchise low, and their 25-point loss was their worst playoff defeat ever. Brittany Sykes was in foul trouble basically the entire game, and she just couldn't get her shots to work. Like Momma was talking about it. She was like, hey, man, what is going on with Brittany Sykes? We know that Brittany Sykes is a way better player than what she actually gave us yesterday, and so we'll see what happens. Hopefully she can get it together and return back into that normal form that we see from Brittany Sykes. But overall, aces in 2 most likely, because they were just dominant. And I just gotta say, as always, Shout out to Dana Evans, who did her thing in yesterday's game. She came off the bench, was a huge impact, 13 points for Dana Evans off the bench. I really like seeing her and Chelsea Gray on the court at the same time. I just think it's a fun look. I like looking at shooting guard version of Dana Evans. It's great to see. Anyway, we saw this Las Vegas Aces team do their thing. Shout out to Cheyenne Parker-Tyus as well, who is back from maternity leave and just has got into form really quickly. She came off the bench, adding in some great minutes as well. There is a real backup big for the Las Vegas Aces, which if you're an Aces fan, I'm sure you're very, very happy about that. Jewel Lloyd also did come off the bench and do some stuff as well. 14 points for her. And Alyssa Smith, I continue to like her in the starting lineup. I think her and Asia Wilson, they just gel so well as the starting bigs for this Aces team. And the Aces take a 1-0 lead. Now the series heads over to Seattle. But if I'm honest, unless something shocking happens, Vegas is cruising into the semifinals. Here's what Momma has to say about that game.
Horrible game.
All right, so the Las Vegas Aces destroy the Seattle Storm in a game that was kind of a blowout. I mean, kind of from the start, not totally, but yeah. Momma, what did you think about this 102-77 victory by the Las Vegas Aces?
That Seattle really didn't have a chance. From the start of the game, the Aces were on a fast pace with their offense, and Seattle didn't know how to handle their defense. They were changing their defense every time they went down the floor. They didn't know who they were guarding almost. You saw bigs on smalls. They're like, wait a minute, who are you guarding? So, they also had tons of blocks at the rim. It was almost unbelievable how many shots they blocked in the first quarter. From how many blocks the Aces blocked. So looking at it just from the first quarter, I was like, oh, they're going to lose. That Seattle's going to lose for sure. It was just a matter of how much. But they did try to make a run towards the end of, I think it was the first quarter, where Seattle was within 4. And that quickly changed. That quickly changed in the second quarter. They was up by 13. And it seemed like the rest is history. What I will also say, I felt that the Aces got every foul call. So I saw Asia in the refs' ears. I just thought they got all the calls. That was one of the reasons the Aces just kept going because they kept getting to the line. Seattle's problem was they took too long to get into their set, whatever they were going to do. They took too long to do it. One person had the ball too long, and before you know it, the shot clock is going down. And then it just had the back of a shot.
Do you think that they had any clue what they were doing? Because it's like, it seemed like they didn't really know what plays that they were going to run, and they were just sort of like out there doing whatever. It didn't really seem like a strategy. What did you think?
But I think that's what I'm saying. I think they held the ball too long because they didn't know what they were doing. And then by the time they decide what they're going to do, the clock is running down. And now they got to jack up a shot that they're not going to make. And so they were just shooting themselves in the foot this whole game. And Wheeler tried to give them a lift. NECA tried to give them a lift. But, of course, Skylar really didn't do anything until I think it was the third quarter. I was like, where are you, Skylar, for your offense? It was a horrible game. And the fourth quarter, I didn't even want to watch it because they were down. The Aces was up by 24 points. I was like, there's no way they're coming back after playing the kind of game they played the first 3 quarters. There's no way Seattle is going to come back. And, of course, I was right. But I just think they didn't know what they were doing. The only bright spot was Gabby Williams, that was consistent. The young rookie, they had her on Asia early, and she couldn't do nothing with Asia. It was a sad game. It was a sad game. And these are the kind of games I usually turn off. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, this don't make any sense to watch a team that's already down 20 points at halftime, and then you come in third quarter and you score. I think they made the first score of the third quarter, but that's not enough. Their defense did not pick up. The Aces just knew what they were going to do. They knew what they were going to do. They had a game plan, and they activated that game plan, and they did not take their foot off the gas. That's what happened. Every single player was locked in to what they were doing tonight on the Aces.
Mama, can we talk about Dana Evans and what she did today?
Yeah. Yeah, she was shooting those 3-pointers.
I was very excited about Dana Evans' play. I thought she played great.
Yeah.
With the Aces, I really like when she's in and Chelsea Gray's in at the same time, because you really get to see Dana as sort of like that two guard.
Okay.
And good stuff just happens. And also, Dana Evans had 6 assists today.
Wow.
I didn't realize she had that many until I looked at the box score after the game. But yeah, she had a lot of assists. She was doing her thing. And also Cheyenne Parker-Tyus, yes, this was a blowout, but Mama, I was so happy when I saw Cheyenne knock down those 2 back-to-back buckets. I think she hit a 3-point shot, and then she had a jump shot or something like that in the fourth quarter. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus, she literally just had a baby.
When they said that, I was just like, what? This girl is on the floor like this? It was just amazing to see that you can get in shape that quick and actually play in a game. Now, I know she's coming off the bench and everything, but the fact that she was running up and down the court like nothing.
Hey, she gave him 10 minutes, 7 points. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yes, it is. I had never really heard of her. But when they made mention of her having a baby 2 months ago, I'm like, what? I'm like, girl, you in shape. Okay, you're running up and down the floor. And when she made that 3-point, I was very happy for her. Very happy for her. That's what the Aces did. They were able to use basically all they bench today because of the play that they did early in the game that secured the win. Like I said, halftime, they basically won the game because Seattle didn't have an answer. Didn't have an answer for anything. Even Smith was doing her thing. I was like, everybody's, of course, Jewel Lloyd, she going to do her thing because she got to do it against her old team, light them up with those 3-pointers. It was just a game that the Aces like I said, they knew what they were going to do from the beginning of the game, how they were going to play, how they were going to defend, and who all the shooters. Everybody became a shooter in today's game for the Aces. Everybody was a shooter. So Seattle just had no answer for anybody. Of course, they couldn't stop Asia, but they couldn't stop nobody. So this is, I'm sure that they're leaving tonight with their heads held down, and to think that they got to do this again on Tuesday, even though they're going to be at home, it really won't matter if the Aces come with the same mindset. If they come with the same mindset they had today, it ain't going to matter. They're going to blow them out at home too.
Is that
right?
is that what you anticipate?
Yeah, because I don't see them. I don't see them coming up with a game plan to adjust on the fly to what the Aces are doing every single play. And they were doing a lot of switches. They were doing a lot of stuff. And I would say, for the most part, those blocks at the rim was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
they were blocking
Melissa
like
Smith
nobody's
and Asia
business.
Wilson, and they was getting at the rookie. I was like, man.
I know they knocked it down one time. They blocked it so hard. I was like, man.
I was like, Asia, go easy on the rookie. Go easy on the rookie.
No, but I think she was timid.
Yeah.
This being her first, you can kind of like see the fear in her because she didn't play her normal play. She normally would have made a lot of those baskets she missed at the rim. And I'm not talking about the ones that were blocked, but she missed a lot of baskets at the rim tonight. And I think it was all her nerves. But no, they didn't go easy on the rookie at all. In fact, it looked like they went even harder after her. I was like, oh my God, the poor baby only 19 years old. Give the baby a break. But I understand they have to do what they got to do. But they were shutting it down from the very beginning. Like, y'all ain't coming in this paint. Get out of that paint because I'm not letting you come in. I was like, man.
Well.
Fierce.
So, Mama. What? I know you already kind of talked about what you anticipate, but like, will the Seattle Storm even have a shot at home, in your opinion, for Game 2?
They will only have a shot if they come in with a winning mind and execute from the beginning of the game. You got to get everybody involved from the beginning of the game. Sykes, to me, was a liability all throughout the game. And I don't like saying that because that is not her norm. She was a liability all throughout the game. She threw away the ball, I think, 3 times. I think it got stripped a couple times. She threw to the opposite team a couple times. It was just like, what are you doing? You are better than this. She's better than what she played tonight. So if she can't get it together, and if Wheeler don't get hot, if Skylar don't come in with a winning mind, they always say when she got her hair in a bun that she's dangerous, but she didn't play dangerous tonight. She didn't play like the normal Skylar. NECA is doing her thing. NECA is working. I don't know what else NECA could have did. That girl working hard. But her and Williams were working hard. I'm just saying, everybody got a chance. Don't get me wrong. Everybody got a chance. But I'm saying, if the Aces come into that game Tuesday playing the way they did tonight, starting out the game, Seattle won't have no chance if they don't combat it right away. You can't let them get up 10 to 12 points and then decide you want to play. You cannot allow them to get a lead on you and then you decide you want to play and you're not aggressive enough. You got to be aggressive with this team to even get one win. Because remember, they're on a 16-game winning streak. So they want to keep that win.
Now.
Well, 17 now, but they're on that winning streak and they don't want that to end. So they got a goal in mind. And they all psyched up. You can look at them. They psyched up. They like, can't nobody beat us. That's the way they look. Can't nobody beat us. You see that their attitude? The attitude on the court. Y'all can't beat us. We bet. Y'all might as well get off this court. This court belongs to us. That's basically what they were saying this entire game by the way they played. I'm telling you. So they dangerous. The Aces are dangerous, and whether it's New York or Minnesota or Atlanta that get them, it's going to be on. It's going to be on.
It's going to be on like popcorn, as they say.
Yep. It's going to be on. But I will say those 3 teams all going to be challenges. They're going to be challenged by the Aces, but they also, all 3 of them can rise to the challenge and get a win. So that's as I expected the Seattle Storm to lose tonight. You know, you coming up against number 2 and you're number 7. And unless you have a magnificent game, there's no way you're going to overpower them. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why they're number 2. But at the same time, I thought there was going to be a little bit more effort in the game. At least with the Valkyries, you saw the effort with the Minnesota. You saw the effort. And I think that's kind of like disheartening for me when I'm watching the game, when I see teams that don't give the effort. You know they can play. You know they can rise to the occasion. And I heard, I think it was Carolyn Peck that said, Seattle can come from behind and win. We know that because they've done it. But you can't come from behind and win if you don't give it all you got. Like, come on, y'all. Y'all know what the Aces have been doing. They should have been better prepared to play this game today. I don't know what else to say.
Well, we'll see if they can pull off a miracle. But I will say they did beat the Aces earlier this year in June. 90-83, they won in Vegas. But in that game, Nneka Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins had 20-plus points. And Gabby Williams had 18. And Erica Wheeler had 17. This is when Erica Wheeler was in a starting lineup. So I think it would behoove Noelle Quinn to make a starting lineup change, put Brittany Sykes on the bench, start Erica Wheeler, and see how that works.
Well, I think she needs to do it anyway because the way Sykes played today, she was not a access to them like she's been in past on when she was with Washington. You saw a different Sykes. So I don't know if they haven't gelled enough, why this is happening. But I was like, come on now, Sykes. We love you. Come on now, get it together. Throwing away balls, getting balls taken away. Come on.
Yeah, she was in foul trouble.
Yeah. So, I mean, she can hit that 3-pointer like nobody's business. We need your offense. We got to have the offense. All those players that step on that floor, you starting, we need you to go for it. Ain't no need of you playing safe. This is now or never. Tuesday is going to be it. Either you win and your season continue, or you lose and that's it for the season. That's the way it is. And so hopefully they'll ride home. They're going to each search themselves and say, hey, I blame myself for not stepping up in this area. But in this next game, I'm stepping up. I'm stepping up, and I'm going for the gusto on this game. I'm giving it all I got. That's the kind of mentality each one of them need to have in order for them to have a chance to win. Just a chance to win. They got to think like that and let that thinking translate to the floor.
You're right.
That's what's got to happen. So the Aces, they not backing down. They're not backing down. They hungry for this. These players that have not won, that are like Jewel Lloyd that have not won a championship, she hungry for this. She want this. You know, Asia, they want it as a three-peat, but it's like they want it as a team, but I think Asia want it because remember how bad they started out the season, and then they kicked it into gear and got on this winning streak. Because early in the season, they were not doing what they needed to do, even with the same personnel. They brought in Smith because they already had Jewel Lloyd, but Jewel Lloyd was starting, and then when she started coming off the bench, they did better by her coming off the bench. But yeah, the Aces, they ready to close this thing out. They want to get rid of this, get done with this series, so they can go to the next series. You know what I'm saying? That's their mindset. Let's get this game number 2, and let's roll to the second series for this game 5. That's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking for. So their eye is on the prize to get to the final. That's what their eyes is on. So we'll see what Seattle does on Tuesday. Can they rise to the occasion?
I doubt it, but we'll see. All right, well, thanks, Mama, for your recap. Appreciate it.
Okay, I hope I gave you enough info.
So, there you have it. Day 1 of the WNBA Playoffs. The Lynx, well, they crushed it. The Dream held firm. The New York Liberty survived, but might have lost their star. And the Aces look like the unstoppable team that we remember them to be. 4 teams are already on the brink, and Game 2's coming on Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, we could start saying goodbye to some seasons very, very soon. Buckle up, because the WNBA playoff magic has just begun. Thank you so much for watching, and shout out to Mama for watching all the games with me. She wasn't here in person, so I had to call her, and that's why I got the voice of. But anyway, shout out, y'all give some love to Mama for literally watching every single game. She missed like 4 minutes of Phoenix versus New York, but other than that, she watched everything. Yeah, shout out to Mama. Shout out to Mama. All right, guys, what do y'all think about this segment? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you. Until next time, guys. And also, the reason why I'm pre-recording this is because I have to get to work at 6 a.m. Ridiculous. I know. Anyway, so I couldn't do it live. But thank y'all for watching, and y'all have a good one. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.